Straight up, I needed a new controller. I've been using the 8BitDo Ultimate Bluetooth controller for over a year, and it's been a pretty good experience for me. I was itching for something different though. My issue was that while I love this controller, it's also held back by Windows. The gyro is only stuck to the direct input mode, which is the mode that the Switch uses for their controllers. This is cool, I guess, but I do lose the feature of anything analog. The controller becomes completely digital. So, you know, my analog triggers, for example, no matter how, you know, slowly I press down on the triggers, it'll go from 0 to 100 instantly, which makes games like driving that have driving in it extremely difficult because I can't, you know, drive slowly. I'll just go completely full throttle. The only other issue is I could only use the Switch mode on Bluetooth mode. I couldn't use it with the dongle. Now, there was a firmware update that did unlock the use of direct input with the 2.4 gigahertz dongle. Later on, I think maybe half a year after I bought it, but I had two big issues. One, I didn't have the dongle anymore. It melted, and yes, I'm actually very serious about that one. So what happened was, one night while I put my controller on the charging dock, it started blinking all weird like. I didn't think much of it until I started smelling burning plastic. I opened up the bottom of the dock and there was my dongle. It was extremely hot to the touch. Like it hurt. As soon as I touched it, it burned. And it was definitely melted. I went to 8BitDo and Amazon for support about the issue, and Amazon completely refunded the entire cost of the controller, which was really nice. And I was able to keep the controller too, so I guess that was a plus. And I could get a replacement dongle, but it's usually sold out on 8BitDo's extremely hard to find replacement store. The second issue is that I have to update the firmware for the controller so that direct input would work on the dongle. And the issue with that is that the gyro is all messed up on the newest firmware. Like on the firmware that I have right now, the gyro is very, very smooth. It has a very wide range of motion, but with the new firmware, the gyro felt really weird. It felt like I had less range when it comes to my gyro, and it just didn't feel right. So I immediately switched it right back. And then of course, even if I did update the firmware and I did get the dongle, I would still be stuck to direct input mode. So I still lose analog triggers. And I kind of need that for games like The Crew or GTA or sometimes Fortnite when I want to drive slowly. The only way I can have my controller fully supported by a game is to emulate it as an Xbox One or PlayStation 4 controller using Rewast. And their implementation of gyro use is it's bad. I'm just gonna say it outright. It's not good. It's not smooth. It doesn't give me freedom of movement like Steam Input does. And I feel like I have to jerk my controller around to make the gyro work, even with the dead zone basically on 0. And even then, it still feels weird. And ever since they switched from a perpetual license to a subscription model and basically told all the old license owners to go kick rocks and to switch to subscription if they want up-to-date features, you know, so they can, you know, have better software, I've been wanting to leave that entire thing behind. And that's when I heard about the Vader 4 Pro. I watched this video by the D-Stone and saw that they were using the gyro of the controller on literally every platform they connected the dongle to or used Bluetooth on. And that's when I knew I needed it. So here I am with the Flydigi Vader 4 Pro. Before I continue, I want to say that I am not sponsored by Flydigi. I bought this controller with my own money off of Newegg, and actually I tried to reach out to the company a few months ago to see if I could get a review unit, but I was completely ghosted. Didn't even get an email back telling me no, which would honestly have hurt less. It's like that saying, the worst you can say is no, and the response is so much worse than no. And even if this was sponsored, I wouldn't have fluffed this up at all. These thoughts are mine and mine alone. If I got something bad to say about it, I'll say it. I'll also say that I'm going to be focusing on how this controller is for computers. So that would be Windows and Linux. I almost said Lindos. I've been watching too many Windows videos. This controller does work for Android and iOS, but I'm not a mobile gamer. I wish I could tell you how it is for those platforms, but unfortunately I can't. Also, I don't usually do review videos like these, so I'm not exactly perfect at this kind of thing. So let me know if you have any constructive tips and advice on what I could do better. I do want to do this more often with items that I do currently have, so just let me know. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's get into the rest of the video and the actual review. First, we'll start with the unboxing and first impressions. Okay, so this is new for me, but I will be doing an unboxing. Hi, this is me. Hello. I almost just knocked over the camera. I haven't had a new tripod in years. This one is kind of on its last legs. Haha, get it, legs. Anyways, I got my package here. So we'll be opening it. And I just rip it open because I don't care about opening it up the nice way. There's the box. Oh, is there no front to it? That's weird. All right. So here we go. Here is, I guess, the front. Yes, this is the front of it. And it's mostly Chinese because it is a Chinese controller from a Chinese brand. Platform supported, Android and Windows. And I'm pretty sure it's supported on Linux too, since I would assume that they would want it to work on Steam Deck as well. Can I open this, please? No? Oh, there's stuff right here. I didn't see the tape for some whatever reason. And now we just pull this out. Something on the back. Got the cable for charging and for connecting to the PC if you want it wired. I'm not going to do it wired, so that's not what I'm going to be using it for. And here we have it. Okay. There's the controller right here. Oh. Kind of got stuck around the things. All right, chill. Oh, right, here's the dongle, by the way. The dongle to connect to the computer. I will be using that later. But here's the controller. This looks pretty nice. And it has 2 programmable buttons on the back. That's nice. And here's the little switches for the triggers. So right now it's analog. As you can see, it's analog, so it pushes down like a regular Xbox and PlayStation controller. But if I flip this here, it's now clicky and stops right there, like Nintendo Switch. That's really cool. I like that. All these buttons are regularly clicky. So it seems that there is. Can I focus? So it seems that there are. Can I put a light? Can I get a light? So there's a dongle option, a Bluetooth option, and a Nintendo Switch option for this back switch. I almost just knocked the camera over again. There's 2 contacts right here, so that's for the charging dock that I unfortunately did not get. Whoa, what are these? I didn't see these before. C and Z button? Wow, they got a lot of extra buttons on this thing. Ooh, the face buttons are clicky. Hold on, can I change to a regular? Let me change my mic. So I'm gonna put this up to the mic. Whoops, almost got the phone. And I'm gonna press the face buttons. You hear that? That's actually so nice. This is also how the triggers sound when I have it in like the digital mode. So I switched it right now and I'm gonna click on it. Very cool, very cool. D-pad, it's clicky. It's pretty, ooh, it's really clicky actually. All right, I'm turning it back off. I'm turning it back off. You guys gotta hear this one. Okay, wait. That's the D-pad. Very cool, very cool. Everything about this controller seems very clicky. it's kind of fashioned in an Xbox controller way, so it feels pretty good in the hand. Actually, I don't know how to turn this thing on. Is this even charged? I guess we'll find out. But right now, it seems that it's off for good until I charge it. Never mind. I pressed the home button and it turned on. Okay. I kind of panicked. Whoops. Okay. Around these are tension buttons, tension joystick things, I think. Okay, so this is Hall effect, so it won't drift. This feels really good actually right now. Ooh, that feels really smooth. What setting is it on? It's on like halfway through. So if I put minimum tension, I can actually turn these. And now, ooh, it's a lot looser now. It's very loose. And if I turn it back to like max. Oh yeah, no, that's harder to turn. That's harder to use. Oh wow, that's really cool. This is a really nice looking controller. I really like this. So you know what? Why not test it out? Let's test it out. After unboxing it, I plugged the dongle in, turned on the controller, and immediately it began working. It read as an Xbox 360 controller in Steam, which I didn't mind as long as games recognized and allowed input from it. I also downloaded Flydigi software and looked through some of the features. I kept most at default and changed some things like what the back buttons are mapped to, and most importantly, the gyro settings. I changed the dead zone to 0 so I don't get any weirdness, mapped the gyro to emulate the right stick, and set the activation to the C button, which is really, really nice. I love that there's extra face buttons on this gamepad. After that, I went to play my frequented shooter games, Marvel Rivals, the new Fragpunk, and of course, good old Fortnite. Y'all remember me for that, don't you? No? Yeah, me neither. There's a lot of players that don't like putting the gyro to right thumbstick. Something about it not being as accurate or smooth. But honestly, I don't really see it. But that's maybe because I'm extremely used to it at this point. There's also an issue of how games react to the combination of controller input and mouse movement. Some of them absolutely hate it, so they yell at you to pick one or the other, or have this really annoying swap notification like Marvel Rivals does when I move the mouse like a little tiny millimeter, and then it gives me a little blaring warning of switching inputs. So I can't do gyro to mouse on that game. And Fortnite can technically, but then I have to put in a setting, and that's a lot. It's a whole lot. So then people say just map the controller buttons to keys on the keyboard. I don't want to do all that, because then I have to remember which key was mapped to what button on every single button I have on that controller, and I don't have the brain capacity for all that. I'm too stupid. I just want to turn on my gyro and play. After playing my main shooter games, I have to say, absolutely loved it. The thumbsticks having a tension adjustment for personal feel is amazing. It's not something I expected to think about at all, but this has completely changed the way I consider how thumbsticks feel. The fact that they're Hall effect too means that there is a very, very minute chance that I'll get thumbstick drift, if ever, in this controller's lifespan. I appreciate that a lot out of the third-party controllers these days, that they've defaulted to Hall effect instead of potentiometers that are extremely outdated and very, very vulnerable to drift. There's still a few third-party controller vendors out there that still use potentiometer. Looking at you, Scuff. You're trying to sell me a $200 controller and it doesn't have Hall effect? Are you kidding me? The build quality is great. It's a hefty controller weighing in at 328 grams. That's 11 ounces for us Eagles. It also feels great in the hands, at least in my opinion. The look kind of reminds me of a mix between Xbox One and the Xbox Series Core controller, like a weird meld between them. But I like it. It's very familiar. The shoulder buttons and triggers have a textured finish to them, so you have grip when pressing on them. This goes same for the edges of the thumbstick and the controller handles. So if you get sweaty or have oily hands, naturally oily hands, this thing won't slip out of your fingers easily, like at all. Like you'd have to like literally let go of the controller to drop it. And the micro switch face buttons, absolutely amazing. There's very little travel to confirm a press, and I don't have to put as nearly as much weight on the buttons like I do for the other controllers, giving me a satisfying click for every action I make. Now I know for sure that I pressed the button instead of sometimes having that mushy feeling on a lot of these controllers. The triggers are equally as great. Being able to change from analog to digital depending on the game, that's premium. Now I don't have to pull all the way down when I want to shoot and aim. And again, it gives me that satisfying click when I do pull down. And there's not a lot of force and travel either. So I feel like I react way better in my games, especially Fortnite. I'm telling you, I could rarely ever hit those flying shotgun shots because I would pull the trigger and it was just way too late. What does annoy me though are the placements of the start and select buttons. They're angled along the triangular design of the RGB lights and are kind of small. Select is also basically right next to the left thumbstick, so I kind of have to move the thumbstick over when I'm trying to press it. Pretty annoying, and I wish they were placed better, like a little lower. I'll probably get used to it in time, but that doesn't mean it shouldn't have been in a better spot. The back buttons are something I have to get used to, at least the 2 extra ones that kind of sit on the middle of the controller. They're very useful, I just have to get used to them. They don't click as nice as the triggers and the face buttons, but they confirm really well. And they don't take a lot to press either, so. As I said before, YouTuber D Stone said and showcased that you could use the controller settings that you made within the software on any platform that it can connect to and support. And he was very much right. I have an old gaming laptop that I use Linux on, Bazzite to be specific. I plugged the dongle in and booted up a game that supported a controller. In this instance, it was Lethal Company. True enough, the controller worked, and even truer enough, when I activated my gyro, it also worked flawlessly. I used the C button to activate and turn off my gyro, and once I pressed that C button, it immediately began working. And I absolutely loved it. It worked flawlessly. This is what I've needed. Freedom from the clutches of ReWASD. I absolutely love that the Vader 4 Pro has onboard memory, and I will give them extremely high praise for it, especially being able to move the settings onto a completely different platform. That isn't to say that my 8BitDo Ultimate Bluetooth doesn't have onboard memory, because it does, but the fact that I can enable gyro on literally any platform that supports the controller, that's a dream. Absolutely love it. Let's talk about the polling rate. Flydigi states that this controller has a 1000 Hz polling rate. When I tested this, and actually, while I made this script, I tested it again, and it actually hit 1000 at one point. But it does hover around 940 to 980 Hertz. It feels nice, and it feels very responsive. I do wish that it hit 1000 a lot more consistently, but it's still pretty good. So I would say that it does work as advertised. It does hit 1000 Hertz. Just, you kind of have to work for it, but it still feels great. I just want, 1000 consistently. That was a half joke. I don't expect consistent 1000 Hertz. Still feels really great. On the software side, I find it still really sad that I can't map the extra buttons to something else, like how the Hori Steam controller can. To be fair, that controller was made specifically with Steam in mind and only works on PC. The Vader 4 Pro works on PC, Android, and Nintendo Switch, so it has to masquerade as an Xbox controller to be compatible with Android and PC. I really want my screenshot button to be an actual screenshot button within Steam though, but it is what it is. Now, let's talk about the price. I got this controller on a sale for $80 before tax. I won't lie and say that it isn't a high price for a controller, because it is, very much is, but you also have to look at it this way. With regular care and, being kind to it, meaning like don't slam it against your desk or throw it in a wall, this will be your main controller for years to come. With the Hall effect triggers, sticks, and microswitch buttons, they'll last a very, very long time. You're also getting a powerful software to customize the controller to your liking, all of those settings being saved within said controller, so you can use it on any device, on any computer, any Android device, any iOS device, and on any Nintendo Switch. So I would say it's definitely worth the money if you're a controller player who mainly plays on PC, a mobile device, and have a Switch on the side too. So yeah, the $80, when you look at it that way, it becomes worth it. it becomes worth it, definitely. Work it? Nice. I think my main gripe was how hard it was to find this controller. It's completely unavailable on Amazon now, and I've only ever had bad experiences with AliExpress. I still never got my Switch Pro controller from there. Newegg doesn't sell it directly. It comes from this company called Mini XPC, which only had like 3 reviews for the vendor. So I really took a gamble on that, and thankfully they delivered. So get it on Newegg if you can. And if you have better luck with AliExpress, I mean, try that too, but I wouldn't get my hopes up at all. So yeah, but to wrap this video up, this controller is definitely worth it. Being able to use gyro on X input mode and using the wireless dongle is an absolute godsend. Now I can enjoy lower latency gaming and smooth motion controlled aiming without the use of clunky remapping software. And I can basically use it anywhere. That isn't to say that I dislike Joy-Shock Mapper now, because I still love Joy-Shock Mapper. Jib Smart really cooked with that one. I highly recommend you get this controller if you're curious about gyro and also want a well-built, solid controller with some good features tacked onto it. If you're a gyro player already and were curious about the performance, it's good. It's really good in my opinion. It's smooth, it's responsive, and it feels accurate. Honestly, I think the Vader 4 Pro just ruined my standards of what I want in a controller. I mean, how could I possibly go back to regular face buttons when I've been introduced to micro switch ones? You gotta be careful if you buy this thing, because, good lord, it'll change your perspective a lot. So, what am I gonna do with my 8-bit dough? Well, I'm probably still gonna use that as my controller for whenever I play on Cemu. And I'm still going to use it as my controller for when I play Supervive in combination with my mouse. So, it won't be collecting dust. Any other game though? I'm using the Vader 4 without a doubt. Anyways, conclusion, grab one. It's a great controller, and I don't think you'll be disappointed. It has extremely high quality features for a very, very decent price. This review is already pretty long, so I'll just end it off here. This has been my review of the Vader 4 Pro. Again, not sponsored, use my own money, so if you like my video and want to see more, drop a like. Hit that subscribe button. You know, it kind of helps. It gives me encouragement to make more videos like this. So, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Maybe I'll review my mic next.